Okay guys, so we have two equations here. One quadratic, we know it's quadratic because there's squares, and one linear. We know it's linear because there's no squares, there's no cubes or anything like that. So what we've been used to so far with linear equations is two linear equations. Okay, sorry, what we've been used to with simultaneous equations is two linear equations in which we put one over the other, we get a positive and negative pair, we add vertically, we get rid of one of the unknowns, and we're left with one unknown, we solve that. Then we sub it back in to one of the equations and we get the other unknown. We can't do that here. Can't do it because one is we have squareds in one of the equations and we have just normal variables in the other. And we can't add or subtract x squared and x's. Okay, so we're not able to add vertically. So what we do is we try and manipulate the easy equation so that we can substitute one of these unknowns. So with, I suppose, the unknown written a different way. Okay, so for instance, we have x's and y's here. Now wouldn't it be great if I could substitute this x with a y? Well, I actually can. If I look at this, I'll do it out here. It's x minus y plus 1 equals 0. Now I can manipulate this to write y in terms of x, or to write x in terms of y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the x here, and I'll bring the others across. So that'll be a y, and that'll be a minus 1. Now look what I'm after doing. I'm after writing x in terms of y. So what that's really saying is x is the same as y minus 1. Well, if x is the same as y minus 1, that means if I see an x up here, I can replace that x with y minus 1 because they're the same. Now why would I bother doing that? Well, if I do replace this x with y minus 1, then I'm going to have an equation with one unknown, and that's y. So let's do it over here. Okay, so I'm going to write this y squared equals 5, but instead of putting in the x, I'm going to put in the y minus 1 because that's the same as x. Okay, so this equation is the exact same as this one, except I've just substituted an x for a thing that's equal to x. Alright, now if I take this bracket, okay, I just take it to the side and square it out. So that would be y minus 1 and y minus 1. Now if I was to square those out, it would be y squared minus 2y plus 1. Okay, so I'm just taking this out here and squaring it, not to have a mess in my main sum. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back in. So it's y squared minus 2y plus 1. Okay, now I already have another y squared here, so plus y squared equals 5. Now I'll just simplify this and tidy it up. So y squared and y squared is 2y squared minus the 2y, and then I have plus 1, and I bring the 5 over, which will be minus 5, so plus 1 minus 5 is minus 4, and that will all equal to 0 because I'm after bringing the 5 across, so there'll be nothing there. So now I have a nice quadratic equation. But to make it a little bit of an easier quadratic equation, I'm just going to divide across by 2. Okay? You don't have to. You could use the minus b formula as it is there. You could use the what's it called? The guide number. Okay? You could use that as well right now. But I just kind of like making things a bit easy for myself. And I can see, why am I dividing by 2? Well, I can see 2 goes into this, 2 goes into this, 2 goes into this, and 2 goes into this. So I can make this a nicer quadratic. So 2 into this, well, 2y squared divided by 2 is y squared. And then that will be, that will be y, and that will be minus 2. Okay, now you could use the guide number if you want, but I know how to factorize this just from seeing it so often. So it'll be y, and 1 will be a 2, and that'll be a 1, and that will be a minus, and that would be a plus. Okay, again, if you're mixed up here, sorry, there's a y here. If you're mixed up there, don't worry, just use your guide number here, okay? Anyway, so what we do now is we let both of these equal 0. So y plus 1 equals 0, so y equals minus 1, and y minus 2 equals 0, so y equals plus 2. So I have two answers for y. Okay, take one of these answers, put it back into this equation, see what x is. So let's go. Okay, so there's my equation, but I already know that y is minus 1, so I'll have x, and be careful here, minus 1 plus 1 equals 0. So x minus 1 is plus 1 equals 0. So x plus 2 equals 0. So x equals minus 2. So, well, x is minus 2 and y was minus 1. So if I was just to write it out as a coordinate or point, okay, the x is minus 2, the y is minus 1. And over here then we do the same again. And this time I know what y is. It's 2, so x minus 2 plus 1 equals 0. So x minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1 equals 0. So x equals 1. And when x is 1, the y was 2. Okay? So that's that one done. And I'll do one more for you. Okay, this was page 57, question 3. In this one, it's actually probably a little bit easier. We only have the x's squared. Okay, so we could do the same again and write x in terms of y, and we could sub in for the x squared. But I think it would be easier to write, actually, well, we'll just check. Yeah, it would be easier to do it this way. So we have 2x plus y equals 2. Now I'd like to get x's in here. Okay, you could get y's in here if you want, but you're going to have to square it all out. It might be a little bit messy. Okay, but you could do it. It's no problem if you wrote x's in terms of y's. But I'm just going to write y's in terms of x's. So it'll be y equals, and I bring the 2x over, it'll be a minus 2x plus 2. Okay, so really what that's saying is y is the same as minus 2x plus 2. Great. Now, so what am I after doing here? Well, 4x squared, that's that, minus, that's that, and y is minus 2x plus 2. So the reason I put it in brackets is because I didn't want to get mixed up with these two minuses. Okay, and to rewrite that then, well, minus 2x is just plus 2x, and minus 2 is minus 2 equals 0. And straight away here I have a quadratic. Okay, if I did this, if I went 2x equals minus y plus 2, so if I wrote the y's in terms of x's, well then I'd have to divide this by 2, and I get x equals minus y plus 2 all divided by 2, and then I'd have to sub all of that in for that, and then I have to square it, which would be messy. Okay, so really nicer like this. Okay, right, I'm going to divide across by 2. Y, just to simplify up this quadratic, because I can see 2 goes into this, and of course this. So 2 goes into 4x squared, 2x squared times 2 goes into 2x, x times, and 2 goes into minus 2, minus 1 times. Okay. Now you can do your guide number if you want, or you can use your minus b formula to factorize out this. Okay, but again, just because I'm used to seeing these, I can kind of do it in my head, and hopefully you'll be able to do it in your head with a lot of practice. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to do these things in your head with a good bit of practice. But if you're not, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can just use your guide number, your minus b formula. So anyway, both of these equal 0. So we will let both individually equal 0. And x plus 1 equals 0, so x equals minus 1. 2x minus 1 equals 0, so 2x equals 1. Therefore x equals a half. Okay, so we have this and this. And the same as the last time, go back to this nice equation. You could take that one, but again, it's messy. You could take that equation and sub them in, but why bother when we have a nice, easier one there? So we have 2x plus y equals 2. We sub our minus 1 in for x. 2 minus 1 plus y equals 2. 2 multiplied by minus 1 is minus 2 plus y equals 2. So y equals 2, and then bring that across, plus 2, so y equals 4. Okay, so y equals 4, and the x number we put in was 1. And we do it the second time, 2x plus y equals 2, but we know x is a half this time, so we have 2 halves. Yeah, okay, don't get confused there, it's just the same as putting any number in, it's just a half, plus y equals 2. 2 multiplied by a half is 1, plus y equals 2. So y equals 2, and the 1 will come across, okay, which will be a minus 1, so y will equal 1. So the y will be 1, and the x was a half. Okay, hope that helps you, lads. Any problems, let me know, but there shouldn't be. Okay, all it is now is practice. All right, the main thing is, if you're dealing with anything squared here, you're going to have to manipulate your second equation to write it something like this, and then you're going to substitute a y with x's. Okay? The reason being, you want to get an equation with all x's, or as we did in this one, you want to get an equation with all y's. Okay, because as we said, if you have an equation with one equation with one unknown, you can solve it. Okay, there's one unknown here. Look, they're just y's. Okay, so hope that helped.